please, please, please do not make these stupid mistakes when you're buying a home in the Boise, Idaho area. In this video, I'm gonna break down 5 of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they're moving to Boise. And the horrible thing is, a lot of these are super easy to avoid, but they can have massive consequences down the road if you're not careful. So if you wanna make sure that you don't have massive regrets about relocating to the Boise, Idaho area, stay tuned, because that is exactly what I'm gonna break down in this video. I'm Chase Dolan, your Boise realtor, and if you're thinking about making a move at all tomorrow, next year, anytime up here to the Boise, Idaho area, reach out using the information down in the first comment or in the description. My team and I would absolutely love to help you make sure that this is a move that makes sense for you and your family. And as you're watching this, if you find value in it or you learn something, hit that subscribe button down below. That way you're the first to know everything that you need to know about the Boise, Idaho market. And that has to do with the first mistake that I see people make when they relocate here to the Boise, Idaho area, is they don't take the time or do the research or work with someone who knows the local market enough to where they understand the neighborhoods inside and out. Looking at listings on Zillow, just kind of thinking about the anecdotal evidence that you've seen, or just thinking about Boise being the capital city and either A, I want to be there because it's, the big city, or I want to live way as far away from that as I can because I want to be separated from that. I want rural Idaho. No matter what you're looking for, if you don't do the research and the legwork up front, there's a chance that you will absolutely regret where you choose to live. I've had a handful of clients that have had something come up to where 6 months into living at their new place, they're just like, Chase, this isn't what we expected. We don't like living here, but we spend a heck of a lot of time in Meridian. That's where we want to be. Can you help us move over there? Of course, we can always make that adjustment, but do you really want to move all the way up here and know that you're going to be making that adjustment again just a few months later? No, of course not. Some of the biggest things that people don't always consider is the proximity of the city that you're thinking about. When you're relocating from a bigger city, let's use LA, San Francisco, some of these really large places where a normal work commute is easily an hour. You might look at the map up here and be like, hey, I am totally okay living out past Middleton and working in Southeast Boise. That's about a 45-minute drive, but that's still 25, 30 minutes less than what I'm currently doing. I'm good with that. But once you get up here and you realize that that is about as far of a commute as you can have in our valley, you're all of a sudden going to be like, I don't know if that's actually what I want to be. So think about what is the actual proximity that you want. And when you're looking at that commute time, making sure that you're doing something that you're going to be okay doing for the foreseeable future. And we also want to look at the proximity to the things that you actually like to do. Do you all go out to a Mexican restaurant every single Thursday, have tacos, have a beer, and that's just something that you, your family, your friends have done for the past 2 years? Let's make sure you have a place like that. Do you all go out for walks with your dogs every single Saturday and Sunday? Let's make sure you're a little closer to the Greenbelt or somewhere that has paths like that. If you have a certain church that you like to go to, if there's a certain type of workout or physical activity you like to do, whatever it is, we want to look at your life right now and see, okay, what do we need to replace and enhance with the Idaho lifestyle? The other side of this is also thinking about what is it actually like to live here? Not all the headlines, not all the things that when I talk about the 3 best things about living in Boise, Idaho, not the glitz and the glam and the perfect parts. What is it actually like to live here? What does the traffic look like throughout the day versus rush hour? All of these little local insights, I want you to do some of that legwork up front and do some of that research. Make sure you visit here. Do some things up front that give you confidence that you're actually seeing what the experience would look like for you. Of course, there is always going to be an adjustment period, but I don't want you coming up here expecting this, knowing full well you're going to get this. Those aren't going to match, and nobody wants your expectations not to be met. Number 2, do not, and I repeat, do not skip your home inspection. This may sound obvious, but when you're buying a home here in the Idaho area, this is a right that you as a buyer have, but it is not a guarantee. You have to choose to do it. It is not something that's done automatically. And as we're starting to see the market pick up a little bit and we're seeing multiple offers come back into the picture, this is something that I just want to bring up again. So if the market continues to pick up and you find your dream home, but there are 10 other people who are interested as well, do not automatically just throw that inspection out the window. There are other ways that we can make your offer stand out and protect you a little bit from the downside that moving in and not realizing that water's been in the crawl space for the past 3 years, that's gonna be a $20,000 fix for you to do. And I think it's extremely important to note as well, so please listen to me when I say this. This goes for resale homes that could be 50 years old, could be 2 years old, but this also goes, and sometimes even more so, for new construction homes. Every builder up here, even some of the best, have really strict quality assurance processes. They have their codes, they have the city inspections. They do a lot to make sure that the homes are in really good condition. But having a third party come out and actually make sure that they did what they were supposed to, it can save you a lot of time and headaches. I hate to say this, but it's something that pops up more often than I care to admit when I'm talking to people around our valley, is things as simple as connecting the pipe that feeds into your shower, actually making sure that it's connected down here. Every once in a while, things like that get missed. You come in, you take that first shower, you just completely flooded your crawl space. Think of it this way. The worst thing that can happen when you have an inspection is that you pay $400, $500, $600, whatever the cost is for your size of home, for the inspector to come out and they find nothing. What a waste of money. Now though, you have that peace of mind knowing that your home is in good shape. I've just seen and heard of so many people who saved $400 for the inspection or threw the inspection out to get the home that they really wanted, only 2 years down the road, find issues that cost them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. It's not worth it. And number 3, I don't know if you've heard, but Boise is growing like crazy. This means development is happening in all directions at all times. So a huge mistake that I see people make is they completely forget to look at what are the future development plans for everything that's going to be around the home that I'm purchasing. Just imagine, go ahead and close your eyes and visualize this. You buy your dream home up here in Idaho, you look out into your backyard, and there's just green space everywhere. Old farmland, potentially cornfields, whatever it is that you're looking for. You look out into the distance and on the horizon, you've got these great picturesque views of the Owyhees, of the foothills. You've got that view and it is so stellar. And that's what leads you to purchase the home that you're hoping to purchase. But then bam, 2 years down the road, there's now a brand new condo building being thrown up. That's where the new Walmart and the new grocery store and everything is popping up. That cornfield, that farmland, completely gone. You're just gonna see the back of the loading dock at Walmart. Those picturesque views down on the horizon, say goodbye to those. You're not gonna be able to see over this. Those are the things that I don't want you to forget to think about. Now, 100%, I will make sure that you know, I cannot guarantee, a lot of us cannot guarantee what is going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. A farmer who has zero intention of selling, they've said no to the developers for the past 40 years. One day, something will change in their life and they're like, you know what? Sure, go ahead. Let's buy this. Let's get it rezoned. I'm cashing out and we're moving down to Costa Rica. Whatever the situation is, you have to know, one, make sure that nothing is in the works right now. It happens all the time where people think, well, that's a farm. Nobody's gonna buy there. Little do they know, permits have already been pulled and there's literally townhomes being built later this year. You should know that. Make sure those obvious things aren't there, but also just know what the risks are. If you're gonna buy a house that doesn't back up to anything but farmland here in the Boise, Idaho area, you should know in the back of your head that there is a solid chance that that won't be farmland forever. So enjoy it while it lasts. Make sure that you soak up that view and really enjoy what it has to offer, but also make sure that you're not paying an outrageous premium for that view. If you don't have back neighbors, even if it might be something in the future, there is a premium on that. That's better than backing up to another subdivision, but make sure you're not spending tens of thousands of dollars for that, because if that stuff gets developed, you just lost that equity because now it's not worth that. And this goes into our 4th mistake. Don't forget and don't completely disregard the resale value of your home. A big part of my process when I'm working with people to find that next dream home is that we want to make sure that we are looking at the financial, the equity, making sure it all makes sense, your budget's good, you're comfortable with your monthly payment. All of that is super important. But don't only think of your house as an investment. Make sure you also are thinking about the life that you're gonna have there. make sure you think about your family. You think about what you all actually want. Will you enjoy living there? That is a big thing that I always make sure my clients focus on, but we have to remember the other side. We can't just get caught up in the emotions of it. So if you're starting to make your plans and you're like, Chase, we're retiring, this is probably gonna be our final home. You might be at the point where you're gonna buy your dream home. So you're like, this is our forever home. You might just be sick and tired of moving. So you're like, I am never moving again. We will make that one work. Or even on a lesser scale, you might be doing this knowing that, hey, we're gonna live there at least through my kids getting through high school. They're in middle school right now. So it's gonna be at least 5 years. Then we'll make a plan then. All of these plans are completely valid. But if you know anything, if I know anything, life happens. Things change. Health changes, people get married, people have kids, you might get a job that's perfect for you somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, 2 years after moving in, you're like, you know what? We need to take advantage of this opportunity. We're gonna move down to Florida. Let's do this. And when those things change, I just wanna make sure that you at least thought about the resale value so you aren't in a tough position where now you're just gonna lose money because you did not think about the future value of your home. Now, there's a couple ways that we can do this, and I'm not gonna get super into it because this is a very long topic that we could talk all day about. But there's two things that you need to look at. One, you have to make sure you know what the actual true value today of that piece of property is. And it's important to acknowledge this might be different than what the market value is. Back up to 2021 where things were out of hand and the appreciation was going crazy, this property that you fall in love with might have been worth $500,000, but because of the demand and everybody else being interested and interest rates being at 2%, still wild, that is now a property that's actually worth on the market right now, $550,000. That will happen at times, and that's where you get to make the call, am I okay with this? And there are some where I'll give you the green light, like, yeah, I would be totally fine with that because part two of this is what is the potential value down the road? Is it in a really good location where, hey, even if our market completely slows down, 5 years from now or so, that $500,000 property that you paid $550 for, it's gonna be worth at least $600 to $650. That now makes it a, hey, as long as we don't move within the next year, this was a smart financial decision. But if you're in a location where that same spread is there, but I'm like, that feels like the cap. So in 5 years, this one might be worth $550 to $560. What if things go wrong? What if it doesn't appreciate that much? Now you're buying a property that just isn't worth what you're looking for. And then of course, there's things like the condition. What improvements could you make? How could you make the value of this home go up? Where are the trends in the markets going? There are certain parts of town that are growing like crazy. There are other parts of town that have kind of started to stagnate. We can only have a 3-bedroom cost so much in the Boise area. But it's important to look at both sides of this equation and then take that in and think about the lifestyle and think about the pool in the back. Think about those big chapel ceilings and windows in your main area that a big Christmas tree would just look insanely good in front of. Think about all those things, and if it makes sense, now you have a good plan moving forward and you're prepped for any of those changes that life just tends to always throw our way. Now, I know all of that, the assessing the values and everything, it might sound really daunting, but that leads into the fifth mistake that I see people make way too much when relocating to a new area. And it's completely underestimating people like me, the local agent in the area who has the expertise to help you make sure to avoid all of these mistakes. It is so crucial when you're gonna be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that you don't know the ins and out of to hire an expert who can actually explain the market, explain what's going on. They know every little thing about which areas are actually good, which areas aren't the best. All of that local knowledge, that is what you need in your corner to make sure that you don't have those regrets down the road. And from a financial perspective, an experienced agent can negotiate the best deal possible for you, regardless of market. Of course, in 2021, where things were going crazy, a really good deal was paying list price instead of paying $30,000 over list price. Whereas last year, as things were corrected, a really good deal was paying $50,000 under list price. The market will always be changing, but you want an experienced agent who knows what to take advantage of and how to get you the best terms and price and all of that fun stuff to make this the best experience possible for you. And in an area like Boise, where we just don't have a lot of inventory on the market, you're gonna want an agent who knows the local market enough and has strategies to actually find you properties that are off the market. Find those things where people weren't ready to sell, but they're like, you know what? We actually could move over to that neighborhood next door. If you can find us something there, we would gladly sell this house. That might be the house that you've been waiting for, that hidden inventory, if you will. And similar to the inspection point from earlier in this video, this is doubly important for new construction. I could go off on a complete tangent of why you need an agent in your corner even more in the new construction realm, but I'm gonna try and keep this brief for you. It can be super tempting to just go with the builder's agent that's staffing the model. It can be super tempting to think that you're going to get a better deal because you aren't being represented. What I want you to think about is, who are they truly working for? Think of whatever job that you have right now. You have your boss that you report to. They're the ones who choose your bonuses. They choose if you actually get food on your table for your family, the experience every day at work, all of those things. If you're negotiating between them and some random person who's still using you and you have the best of intentions to do a good job, when push comes to shove, who do you think they're gonna care more about? At the end of the day, the builder's agents here, and I know a ton of them, I have good relationships, I love them, and they do such a good job for my clients, but it is a little unfair to think that they will be purely unbiased and fight for your side as much as they would fight their own boss. I always tell my clients about 90 to 95% of new construction deals go so smooth to where nothing is wrong and it is the easiest thing in the world. But for those 5 to 10% where shit hits the fan and you need somebody to go in and make sure that you're protected, having somebody who is advocating just for you is crucial. And just a small note, when you're visiting the area for the first time, make sure you bring your agent with you when you visit those models, because a lot of builders have policies where if you go and you check into one of their models or talk to one of their sales reps on your own, at that point, whether you know it or not, you might be waiving your ability to actually have your own representation. So I won't get too much more into this. If you have specific questions at all, feel free, go ahead and drop me an email. I'll kind of break it down for you and tell you what you need to look out for. But it's just super important to use somebody like me, of course, who knows what's going on in the market. They will protect you from all of these mistakes. They will make sure you have the best investment possible. And they'll make sure that you are living in the area that matches your needs the best that they can be. And if you're still watching this video, thank you for staying tuned. I hope that it was helpful. And if you learned something, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe down below. That way I know that this is actually resonating with you. And if you're having any thoughts at all tomorrow, next year, whatever it is about relocating to the Boise, Idaho area, go ahead and reach out. My team and I would love to talk with you and figure out how we can help make that the best possible experience. But until then, I hope that you learned something. Watch one of these videos that's popping up, and I'll see you all on the next one.